Hello, welcome to History Forge. My name is Taylor Hamlin. Going to be going over thesis development today. So for my students, you're going to be learning more about how to take your research question, develop it into a thesis, and not only that, actually how to improve your thesis too. Before we move on though, I want to make sure everyone who's watching this video understands that their design should be done. So if we go here to design checks, we should look at specifically what we need to get done. So going into one of these 5 things, make sure you're actually looking through. I do want you to actually consider which steps you're on. Most people are on the 2nd step, or they are on just getting into the 3rd step, so I'll scroll past this first one. I'm just going to use a documentary as an example. Most of them look pretty similar. So we're looking at this right now. As you can see, documentary. You need to make sure you're finishing this stuff up. So you have photos due today. You also need to be printing these out for next week and consider how to organize all your information. Going into the 3rd step, remember we have this writing doc that you guys all need to be working on. The writing doc is going to be dumped into here. So zoom in, and so you guys can kind of see all these different project names. You guys need to make sure you have a project created because I need to see your thesis statement, okay? We'll get into that in a bit, but make sure before you move on to thesis development that your designs are done. You need to show me all your designs, have them ready to go so I can check you off. That being said, we're going to go ahead and go on to thesis development. So if you don't have your designs done, just go ahead and pause the video. Don't move past this point. Make sure you get your designs done, and then when you finish that, then you can move past the video. Okay, so thesis development. We need to think first about how to answer our thesis in 3 sentences before moving on. So I'm just going to open up a random thesis. I'll use this project 1. And in the project, remember you have the top box, there should be a thesis statement up here. This is a pretty common thing I see a lot with the thesis development, is you guys will post your question into the box. You can do that if you want to. You don't have to, not whatsoever. So if you don't feel like you want to post your thesis or your research question, don't feel like you need to. But if you want to, feel free. If it helps you keep you organized, that's fine. Here's a common problem though, especially big groups, you guys will all put in a lot of thesis. So if you have a group of 2 or more, and you want to all throw your thesis in there, that's fine, but eventually you're going to need to do what this group did. They have a final thesis. So you can see right here it says the triumph of skills learned in the Civil War helped advance the medical field because during the Civil War there were many journals, photographs, and reports taken. We conclude that the flaws and excellence made during the Civil War have been corrected and more advanced because of medical professionals, current discoveries, and the recent technology. So that thesis is our start, it's our rough draft, and we need to do a few things with it. It's a good rough draft, it's a good start, so don't feel like just because you have to work on it more that you did a bad job. It's actually a really good thing that you can get 2 to 3 sentences done for your thesis. So that's all we need to move on with our thesis. After we're done with design checks, I want you to do a thesis check. So you need to talk with me so I can actually look through your thesis and try to figure out more of what you need to do, okay? So we got thesis checks figured out. The next step will be to connect that thesis to a theme. So again, if you are not done with your thesis, do that first. Pause this video, get those 3 sentences done. Raise your hand if you need my help. Remember, a thesis is just answering your research question. You've already done that in your journal. So if you want to go get your notebooks and look at what you've already done, do that, okay? Look at your notebooks, look at your actual reflections, and I told most of you to put them in the back, and start trying to think of exactly what you need to do, okay? Going ahead to move on. Here it says connection of thesis to theme. This is the next step, so again, make sure you pause this video, get the thesis done first, and then go to this next step. So, answer this question, how does your thesis fit into the keywords of the theme? So this thing right here, it should take you 5 to 7 minutes. I want you to think of the theme, I'll write right here too, triumph and tragedy. Does your thesis go over those 2 words? Think about what triumph and tragedy mean. If you're having a hard time doing that, let me know so I can help you. But we want to make sure that those 2 elements are there. We want to see that theme being in our thesis. Talk to a friend, talk to partners, email each other. If you're level 4 in my classroom, you can have cell phones. I don't like it when you guys text for non-academic things, but if you want to start a chat or something with your cell phones, feel free if you're level 4 or higher. But I want you to be talking to your partners, asking them exactly what you can do for this triumph and tragedy piece, okay? So we got triumph and tragedy. Make sure, I want you guys to look at your thesis for about 5 to 7 minutes. Keep your own time, and I want you to try to connect it. Even if you already have the words triumph and tragedy in there, I want you to still do a look over. Maybe rewrite some things. How can triumph and tragedy become more part of your thesis? Is your thesis not specific enough? Is there ways to make it more specific with triumph and tragedy? Everyone in your group, or if you're by yourself, do that for 5 to 7 minutes. And if you do it, and if you think it's fine, great. But do it an honest read. And if you can't find anything, feel free to come ask me and I'll help you, okay? So, go ahead and do that. Again, pause this video right now if you are going to do that for a little while. And then after you've done that and shown me, I want you to go ahead and move on. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next piece. This is the value of thesis. It says, what was the impact or historical significance of your thesis? So we got this little thing right here. Again, it's about 5 to 7 minutes of reflection. This is after you get done with connecting it to the theme. So what was the impact or historical significance of the thesis? I want you guys to be thinking about that. Why does your thesis matter? It's another way we can look at it. So I can write that question down here too. Why does your thesis matter? Who should care? And basically all I want you to do is under your thesis, on notebooks or something, like you can write your thesis out on a notebook page and you can make these little bullet points and you can just make points, saying reason 1, reason 2, and then just keep going doing that. Because if you start doing that, you might actually find that you're starting to write a little bit more about you're starting to think more about your main project. If you start thinking about how you can defend your thesis and why it's so important, that's something you should put into your big projects. Remember, a huge part of doing this project is me coming up to you and saying, why should I care about your project? Why should anyone care about this topic? And you have to defend it. You have to say, well, I think you can see the impact here. It's significant. Let's really think about those two words. What was the impact? So impact means what changed? Okay. So what changed because of your topic? Did something happen because of what you're studying? I know I have students who are doing agriculture. Is there something that happened because of that agricultural movement that changed America or the history for the good? Is there something about weapons? We have a lot of people doing weapons. What about that weapon changed things? What was the impact of it? Talk about that stuff, okay? And just get into it. Use your imagination. If you're not 100% sure, think about it. It's all right, well, what would this have? What could have this thing done? If this is the cause, what's the effect? Okay, so really be thinking about that too. I'll even write that in there, cause/effect. I want you to be reflecting on that. And again, you're just going to do this in notebook paper. So just take a piece of notebook paper out, write your thesis, and really try to think about the impact. The next thing is significance. So it's kind of like impact, but significance more of, instead of change, it's more of why does it matter? Why should today people, present day modern people, why should we look back at this moment? What can it teach us? What does it tell about our history? So think about lessons we can learn from it. Why should it matter? Those kind of things. Okay, so really be thinking about those ideas. And I really want you, again, just to reflect for a little bit of time. 5 to 7 minutes is all I'm asking for. And if you want to go, beyond 10, if you want to make it, 10 minutes, it's fine. But just really be thinking about that and reflect on it. If you do that, your project, you're just going to have more stuff for your project, okay? So that's it for that, for this entire thing. Again, it's going to take you 5 to 10 minutes. Go ahead and pause this video if you are ready to go. And again, keep your own time. So look at your clock right now and be, all right, it's 7:25 or whatever. And then 5 to 10 minutes later, you can pause. And then show me. I want to see your stuff. I'm going to be walking around the entire time. Raise your hand and let me see it. Next part. So again, pause this video if you are going to do that, okay? Okay. Next part. How can you prove your thesis is true? So this is that big question. How do you know it's accurate? Defend it, right? So, we talk about in parentheses here, defend. I want you to defend that thesis. I want you to talk about all the evidence you have. I want you to talk about why I should care. I want you to tell me why I should believe you. Think about that race strategy we've been using. You've already got your answer. That's the thesis. What's the C and the E of race? What evidence are you going to cite? How are you going to explain yourself? Why should I believe you? Why should I trust you so much? That's what you need to do. You need to be really thinking about why we should trust you, okay? So that's going to be the big part, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You just have to defend yourself. And again, it's a reflection. So 7 to 10 minutes, keep your own time, just reflect. Just write and reflect and think about it. And as you reflect, maybe you'll think about sections for your project. Exhibits, you have sections you have to build. If you're documentary and performances, you have scenes. These little blocks of scenes you have to make. Papers, you have outlines you have to make. You have to make sections for paragraphs. And then, I always forget one, websites. You have pages. You have web pages you have to show me. So have all that stuff ready, okay? I want to see all that information in detail ready to go. So moving on, let's see. We'll go to here. It says compare thesis statements. This is, once you get, okay, so, sorry, I got ahead of myself. So do that part first, 17 minutes. Go ahead and pause me right now and get that done. And then again, show me. Okay. I don't think many people are going to get here today. If you do, congratulations. You've put a lot of hard work into this, and you're getting ahead, and that's good. What I would like to see out of this compare thesis statements, is you're going to go to Team Haleakala. You're going to click on this. It's good, bad, and the ugly. It's under Friday. I'm hovering over it right now on my computer. And you're going to go into it. It looks like this. And I want you to read the different theses. Like on the left-hand corner, you'll see where it says Susan B. Anthony, Martin Luther, chemical warfare. So these are all the topics on the left. And as it goes left to right, they get, these are bad thesis, good thesis, very good thesis, okay? So, needs improvement, better, good. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The theses are on top, right? So like right here, for example, I'm kind of highlighting it. This why was Susan B. Anthony so important in history? So that's something that I see a lot. People will submit questions. And these bullet points talk about what they need to be done, like what needs to be done to improve these things. So what I would like you to do is I want you to review all these different theses. There's about 5 of them. I want you to look how they improve. And I want you to figure out like where you think yours is, okay? Where do you think your thesis falls? After you read all these, look at where yours falls and then ask yourself, well, what can I do to improve mine? Look at all these little bullet points and ask yourself, like, what do I need to do to fix my thesis? We'll review this next week too, but this is, something to get ahead. So if you want to look at your thesis and make it better, this is a great way to do it. So that's pretty much it. Make sure you read this. Make sure you use it. Next week, we're going to be mostly doing peer editing, and we'll be doing this too. We're going to try to make our thesis better, and we're going to continue to organize and start building our projects, start putting things together. The projects in a couple weeks will probably go out into the commons, especially for exhibits. And yeah, we're going to start building. It's going to be fun. So that's all I got. Make sure you do this. Please raise your hands if you have questions, and that's pretty much it, okay? So go ahead and go to work. And if you're my students, you can go ahead and close me. Hello. Hope you enjoyed that. For any teacher or other students who watch this or get value out of it. We're doing thesis development, and let me try to find my master schedule. There it is. All right, so this is what I use. This is how I keep myself organized throughout my week. It's kind of my like rough draft lesson plans. I want the student, they already have a research question. They've already been doing a lot of project designs, and today was a big day for them to like submit designs and stuff. So I want to see more of that, and I want the students to be able to submit just a rough draft thesis and improve. That's the biggest goal. So that's what all this stuff was. So if you have questions about it, feel free to let me know. But for me, the bell just rang, so I need to go check on everybody. It's a snow day today, or probably should be. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to check out the video description. Take care. Bye.